Alright, so Bitcoin got a bit of a pump yesterday. So did some other altcoins. I guess XRP got a little bit of a pump, nothing too crazy, just like a 80% pump in one day. And Bitcoin actually put in not just new highs in this range, but new yearly highs. This up here was the highest Bitcoin has been all year. Shout out Tom Crown for being the first person in the world to tweet that. So far, we've gotten a little move back down inside of this range, and I want to go over some of the possibilities, some of the things I'm seeing after we have now technically wicked the range high on the daily time frame, potentially SFPing it, also potentially forming a 3-tap distribution up here. Let me turn off the magnet. 3 wicks up here, 2 of them SFPing the previous wick. This could potentially be a sign that this range wants to break to the downside. But there are some things that I would want to see to confirm this, which we have not seen yet. And in order to confirm this as being a distribution, as being bearish, after having put in another set of bearish divergences on the 4-hour with money flow and momentum, I would want to see a flip in market structure. And so far on this move to the upside, we had this bullish break in structure here, and from there we formed an uptrend, and this was the last higher low right here. And so far we have put in a new low, but we only wicked it. So Bitcoin SFP'd the last higher low on this 15-minute structure. And I think if we start to break market structure here, if we start to close now down below this wick, that could be a sign that the distribution is in play. And if that's the case, then I would probably be looking for a lower high somewhere to open a short. But so far we have SFP'd the market structure point, which is technically a bullish sign, may mean that we want to come back up for the high. So far, since we put in this high, we have then put in that low, we wicked that 15-minute market structure point, and we've basically just been ranging in between these 2 points. And, that's not surprising. That's what Bitcoin likes to do after getting a large pump. If we're not going to, immediately dump, usually we're going to range afterwards. And, that is what happened on a larger time frame. When you zoom out, we got this massive pump, pretty much coming back up towards the highs of the range, taking out the highs, and then from there we started ranging forever. So potentially we may just range here for a while. And I mean, it's not a massive range, so I wouldn't expect us to stay here, that long, maybe just for the weekend. But I think that once we start to exit this local range, or once we start to deviate it, that's when things could start getting interesting. That's when, we may see, those juicy trades from the extremes of this local range. So I did originally take a short up here. It was a bit of a riskier short. And pretty much I entered once we started falling back down below this 4-hour higher high. And that one ended up being a pretty nice trade. I locked in profits down here, got stopped out at my entry up here. So I'm no longer in a Bitcoin trade. And now the next trade, the next short I'd be looking for would either be an SFP of this high that we just put in, take out the original shorts, or when we break market structure, if we close down below this wick now, then I would be looking for a retest into maybe an order block, maybe the 0.5 or golden pocket fib, something like that. Pretty much if we break 15-minute market structure here, then I would be a lot more confident that this was the high, and at that point I would be looking for a short. So those are pretty much my short ideas. There's not much else I'm looking at. I could trade this local range, maybe look for value area deviations, and potentially that could put me into the trade that breaks the range, and maybe I can just ride that out. But for the most part, if I am taking trades inside this local range, it's going to be just trading from one end of the range to the other. I'll take out most of the trade at the opposite end of the range, and if the rest of the trade ends up riding, then okay, great, I'm in a trade. And in terms of longs, really I only have one, really juicy long idea, which would be another SFP of this wick into this 1 hour order block along with the value area high of this entire range. It is coming in right about the middle of this order block. An SFP of this wick doesn't exactly go along with structure. I mean, I guess it could. It's an SFP of an SFP, and this wick does go along with structure since we SFP'd a market structure point. So I think there is some weight to this idea. If we get another move down here and we find support on the value area high, yeah, it could be a decent trade, and we can check fib levels. Maybe it's a golden pocket, and look at that, lines up almost perfectly with that. So yeah, I'd say that's a pretty decent idea there. And yeah, those are pretty much the ideas I'm looking at. I'm either looking for, you know, a short from this extreme or a long from this extreme, or if we end up closing down below this low, then I'd be looking for a lower high, because, you know, at that point I would be pretty confident that this is a distribution at play. And I do still think there is reason to come down. There is liquidity below us, lots of higher lows on this move to the upside, not a lot of liquidity grabs. We didn't take out this low to grab the stops. We didn't take out this low to grab the stops. So I do still think there is reason to come down. And the first sign that I would be looking for to tell me that that might happen would be losing that low with a close. Now, it is Friday. We are heading into a weekend. And usually, if the week was boring, then the weekend might have some price action. And vice versa. If the week was, you know, really exciting, if there was a lot of price action, usually we get a boring weekend. At least that's what I've seen. So it is possible that we just end up ranging here for, you know, the weekend. Like I said, maybe we end up deviating these sides. Maybe we do something like that over the weekend. But do I think that we will just continue this uptrend here and get another leg to the upside and, pretty much just blast out of this range, break out of it? I mean, it's possible. I would be really surprised if we did that without coming down to take out liquidity first, though. I mean, this kind of liquidity to the downside usually doesn't get left behind. So that's kind of what's making me think that, you know, there's a reason for us to come back to the downside. If we're going to continue going up, then, you know, we would probably come down first. But it is hard to say. I mean, there's been plenty of times where we have left liquidity below us. Yeah, that's not a great example there, but I guess this would be a decent example. You know, we had liquidity back here, we got that move, but then later we did come back for that. So that is something to keep in mind. If we take off here, we would be leaving liquidity behind, and maybe, you know, that gives us a reason to come back for that later. So looking at market safer, I mean, the daily time frame does not look bad right now. The momentum wave is not clipping off yet, still has room to run. The money flow is increasing in the green after just crossing over. It's getting pretty thick in the green, and I mean, we are challenging these highs that we put in back here. Money flow looking to put in a higher high soon, or, you know, right about where we were back here. So daily time frame not looking too bad. Looks like we could have more upside potential. We can check the 12-hour. And 12-hour money flow looks good as well. I didn't really notice this, but, you know, this is the kind of money flow where if I saw this on the 12-minute, I would say, okay, we definitely have more upside. So the fact that we're seeing it on the 12-hour is interesting. The 12-hour momentum wave is starting to clip off a little bit. You can see it getting thinner. The white part is getting thinner, like it wants to turn over and print a red dot. So we could potentially be seeing that wave topping out, but the money flow does look really good. Now, the 8 hour is drastically different. Money flow in the 8 hours not looking too good. And we also have a divergence here. If this wave tops out right here, we will have a divergence. And it looks like it is starting to top out. So 8 hours looking a lot more bearish than the 4 or the 12. And the 4 hour, like I said, we do have divergences as well with money flow and momentum. We just did confirm that red dot, or we just printed it. I don't know if we confirmed it yet. Yeah, I guess we did because we printed a candle after it. So, yeah, some bearish things on the 4 hour. We even got like a local money flow div here, which does not look really good. So, some mixed signals right now. We can zoom into the 2 hour, and I mean, this isn't looking too bad. We do have money flow divs. But right now the VWAP's turning back to the upside, maybe showing continuation here, and that could give us a chance to get momentum and money flow back to the upside, maybe look to void these divergences, but it's not looking likely because of how thick the money flow was back here. And the 1 hour, we did just get this trigger wave to the downside that actually looks pretty decent. Money flow is not looking horrible on the 1 hour either. It's still pretty thick in the green. So it looks like we do still have some upside potential on this 1 hour. And let's check the medium term time frames. 24-minute money flow bleeding out, but momentum turning to the upside. Let's check the 12-minute. 12-minute thick in the red. So this could potentially just be money flow cooling off for a little bit before turning back to the upside. That would kind of make sense because if we're going to range here for a little bit longer, then this money flow would probably come in the red before turning back to the upside. So definitely some mixed signals on Market Cipher. We are seeing some surefire bearish signs on some time frames, and other time frames are looking relatively strong. So because of that, I would really be just looking at the price action developments to give me a hint as to what's going to happen. If we start breaking market structure here, closing down below this low, then I would probably be prioritizing those bearish signs that we saw in some time frames. But if we just end up ranging here all weekend, maybe building up some bullish momentum and money flow on some of those time frames, and then we look to break up to the upside, then you can say that those bearish signs on some of those time frames were just pause for consolidation before another move to the upside. So I think either scenario is possible right now, and yeah, like I said, I'd just be watching price action to kind of get an idea of what would happen next. So that's pretty much it for my Bitcoin plans. I don't have too much locally marked out. I mean, I could trade this local range if I really feel the need to trade something. And I mean, I may start to look for some ideas more locally. We could look at local market structure here. Did we switch market structure? We just SFP'd this market structure point after we put in a lower low. So, maybe if we switch local market structure here, I might look for a retest for a long. And yeah, I mean, I guess I'd just be trading this range locally. The only trade I am in at the moment is on this token, which I do not have any affiliation with, even though they copied my name. I don't actually know if that's true. They might have had the name before I did. Let's see. How long has this coin been around? Okay, yeah, so maybe they've been around a little bit longer than me. I didn't copy them, though. I didn't know this coin existed until a few days ago. And the only reason I found out about it was because someone, or KPAX, pointed out that there was a lot of volume on this token. And let's see, that was back here. That was right before we got this massive pump. So since this coin got that pump, we've pretty much been in this downtrend. We had a very tight downtrend, lower lows, lower highs, all the way down. And we just swapped market structure. We flipped market structure bullish on the 15-minute. That was the time frame I was looking at it on, when we closed this candle up above the lower high. And this was actually as everything was pumping. So I saw XRP up like 80%, and I thought, okay, we're breaking market structure, we're getting above the point of control. We might not come back for a retest. We might just pump from here. So I took one long originally, and once we started dumping back down below the point of control, that got stopped out. And I looked to re-enter as we tested this order block down here. We had a 15-minute order block, or maybe it was a different time frame, but yeah, okay, there's this 30-minute order block, which you can also see on the 15, except it's a little smaller. Yeah, so it's pretty much this 15, including this wick. Either way, we tested this order block, and this was my entry because we flipped market structure. I was pretty much looking at this as being the retest. We also got to move right into the golden pocket, and yeah, from there we got another move to the upside. So right now we are above the point of control. Looks like we're holding it as support. Alright, well, I got a busy couple of days ahead of me, so I don't know if I'll be making a video tomorrow. I might try and bang one out in the morning if I have time, but if there's not too much going on in price action, if things are just boring and we're ranging, if Bitcoin's just ranging in here, then, what's the point? I'm pretty much just waiting for some of these more significant levels to get hit, and we can go from there. But thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider leaving a like and subscribing, and I will see you all in the next video.